Good evening and thank you for joining us. Carly, just looking at that headline there, it's a pretty big deal when you're able to represent your town somewhere else in something like that Senior Bowl.
Yes, very much so. And Woodminster will be very well represented thanks to the 3 young men that we will meet and a coach from this area as well.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to that. Gerard, what are we looking forward to in the weather forecast?
Well, the weather's changed in the last hour at least, certainly. We're getting some gentlest of rain. It's not even classified as rain, just a gentle drizzle. Let me just start at the top here. 15 is where we eased off to gently with that rain, and it's at 19 that we got to just at around 2 o'clock. The humidity has climbed up to 70%. The winds have stayed for the better part of the day out of the east-southeast, anywhere from 31 to 44 kilometers an hour. What we're looking at as we compare across the region, across the Midwest, the Lakeland region, they've had lots of cloud cover during the day, got to 21, and now it's easing off to 20. And for the Battlefords, mostly a cloudy day. Surprise, surprise, the sun has pushed out within the last hour as well. So turning of the tables, as it were, got to 19 and eased off to 18 in this hour.
An 18-year-old man from North Battleford is facing several charges stemming from incidents that happened over the past 2 days. On Monday night, RCMP responded to a theft at a business in the city. The clerk had reported the incident and was hit and injured by the man during the robbery. Then, last night around midnight, police received complaints of a break-in or at a house, as well as calls of a theft, assault, and reports of a sexual assault against a 17-year-old woman. The investigation led to Arlen Bernard Wapass from North Battleford being arrested and charged with 24 counts, including theft, robbery with a weapon, and sexual assault. And charges have been laid against 24-year-old Ashley Marie Johnson of North Battleford. RCMP say they were contacted on March 28th by a North Battleford group home that cares for intellectually and physically disabled people. Management of the home told police that a part-time care worker had physically abused one of the permanent residents. Investigation continued and Johnson was charged with assault and the administration of a noxious substance. The resident suffered some non-life-threatening injuries but has made a full recovery. Johnson no longer works at that care home, and RCMP would also like to stress that this is not the same Ashley Johnson that works for the Living Skies School Division. Well, bullying is always a concern and an issue with teens. Every day, some students wake up and face the fear of going to school. But as Clayton Brown explains, a leadership program is trying to change that and get kids to become more proactive.
8 Assumption High School students took part in a province-wide program called Connections. The program is aimed to stop bullying by creating students' awareness of stereotyping and prejudice.
Multiple students from across Alberta come and go into one camp, and we learn a lot about discrimination and racism and how we're supposed to benefit our school and our community with the things that we learn there.
Michelle Revoy is the school's principal. She attended the camp with the students, and she believes the hands-on experience is what makes the program successful.
The students had an opportunity to hear from a variety of speakers, do some personal reflection, and then think about how can they bring it back to the community. And I just thought that those 3 components were really important to have the students exposed to.
The students have taken what they've learned from the Connections program and passed that knowledge on to other students in the school. And they say it's making a difference.
When we did the presentation, we put them in groups who they didn't know who they were with, and we've seen that a lot of people are branching out from what they call cliques, and they're really just starting to become friends with other people.
Some of the kids didn't really get anything from it, but others really did, and it hit home, and I've noticed a big change in our school.
Connections also gets the teens to really understand what bullying is.
A lot of what I've dealt with has been a lot of more the they said this, didn't really mean it, but it impacted the other person. And so it raised awareness of what do you do on a daily basis? How do you speak to people?
The students and staff feel the effect from the program will continue to grow. In Cold Lake, Clayton Brown, Newcap News.
This week is EMS Awareness Week, and as part of that week, students at Bishop Lloyd Middle School were taught various tips to help them in emergencies, including a program called ICE. Robert Buffum has more.
These fresh-faced kids are learning something that could save their lives. Local emergency technicians are teaching them about ICE, an acronym for In Case of Emergency.
We get the people to put a sticker on their cell phone and put a contact in their contacts as well. That way, if the cell phone actually does survive anything, we can take a look in there. We can just search in the contacts ICE, and it'll pop up their contact, and we can get a person who knows them to make medical decisions or knows their medical history to the hospital.
It's an idea that originated in the UK over 5 years ago. and is gaining traction amongst these youngsters.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea if, active students would have something like that with them, if they play like a lot of sports, like contact sports.
Like there's kids in active sports, and it's always good for their parents to know where they are, so if they get sent to the hospital, they know how to contact their parents.
All you do is program into your cell phone the acronym ICE, I-C-E, followed by the name and number of someone you want contacted if you're injured and unconscious. Then all you do is put on the back of your phone a sticker saying ICE.
You're also encouraged to carry a piece of paper in your wallet with your contacts' names, your medical history, the medications you're taking, and any allergies you have. It's information that could prevent deadly mistakes.
It would be really nice to know that if this person has an allergy to a certain medication, that we don't accidentally give that medication to them and kick that allergy in.
Robert Buffum, Newcap News.
Thank you, Gerard. Farmers across the prairies are working hard to get this year's crop into the ground. Although valuable farmland in parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba are still underwater, the land around Lloydminster is a different story. Jessica Isaac brings us this week's local crop update.
Producers across the Midwest have been out in their fields this week. According to the Canadian Wheat Board, overall seeding numbers are below average. However, local numbers are looking good.
We're sitting at probably about 40 to 50% seeded in the area right now. There's some areas that are a little less and some that are a little more. I expect by the end of the weekend we'll see close to 75% in the ground, and then hopefully by the end of the month for sure, everything should be wrapped up.
Producers are currently putting a variety of crops into the ground. Some types, however, still have to wait to be seeded.
There's a little bit of everything going in. Right now, a lot of wheat and canola. Peas are just about wrapped up. And as things get a little bit later in the year, then we'll see some more barley and oats go in.
Klimek says dry conditions and strong winds are the two major factors that have helped move seeding efforts ahead this week.
Other areas have had snow and rain and just poor weather that's hampered seeding, and then the ground has been very wet and hasn't dried in a lot of those areas as well. So we've been very lucky that conditions have been almost perfect for us here.
Producers who have had crops in the ground for 7 to 10 days are being encouraged to pay close attention as they emerge. Jessica Isaac, Newcap News.